So, how many years has it been since I originally met this goal? How many years have I procrastinated on doing this exact stream? Well, it's been a while, but now that I got hopefully everything set up for this whole occasion, we're gonna get started on what could possibly be the biggest failure of a stream that I have ever done, but it is something new. And sometimes failures can help us understand what we can do better next time. FBI, open up! Especially when the FBI is at my door. So, let's go over to the other screen, everyone. Well. This is quite the setup. Look at that filthy, dusty top. Greetings and salutations to each and every one of you. I'm Cuddlymuffintop, half human, half blah Vtuber, who this time around isn't completely unconscious, as you can see. Look how red my hands are! Oh my dear God! No, seriously, my skin can get so blobby red. So my human body is not unconscious this time. It is completely aware of their surroundings. Oh my, don't say they're sexy, come on. They're not sexy fingers. But yes, today, I'm gonna do something I've never done in my entire life, but since we met the Donathon goal I feel like years ago, I figured now it's the time to make that giant leap and see how I do with mini painting for the very first time. So that is our mission. Thank you, Sobatoni, again for the... God, I shouldn't do that simple. For the 370 stream streak. That is incredible. Thank you ever so much for that. That is truly lovingly appreciated. And I knock over my good old-fashioned brushes. Luckily that wasn't the water, else we would have had a worse emergency on our hands. So let's see here. Oh, that's gonna be a I was having the YouTube chat up in the separate end so I can take a look. So it's gonna be one of those instances again for YouTube, since I am currently using my phone to do this. This is a hand can stream. I finally figured out how to do video.ninja. It's so simple. Why did it take me this long to figure it out? Honestly, I will wholeheartedly admit, I have been quite anxious when it comes to doing this type of stream. Because when it comes to mini painting, there's a lot of people who are passionate about it. They do it especially with their Warhammer 40k little minis that they bring into battle. And I always wanted to try that out. Not with Warhammer figurines though, but with another game that I'm kind of passionate about. I've been collecting the base game and all of the expansions as much as I can off to the side. And that game is... Let me see if I can bring this in without knocking anything over. Unmatched. Woo! You can't even fit the entire box on here. It's so huge. But yeah, it was one of those boxes that I basically got with those storage systems that they had on a Kickstarter. So for those of you who may not be aware, Unmatched is one of my favorite games. And picture Death Battle, but with public domain figurines, basically. And in this game, it's a one-on-one battle. It's a perfect two-player game where you face off against another figure, whether it be Sherlock Holmes versus the three raptors, whether it be a giant T-Rex versus Bigfoot, whether it's Spider-Man versus Dracula. depending on if you have the expansions for it or not, you can make that matchup possible. Now, this is a game that has been made with Restoration Games, and originally with Mondo. You may know Mondo as the one who has been doing all of those cool limited issue toys, tiki figurines, or vinyl figurines, or even vinyls for here and again. They did some of the original aesthetic and the layouts for some of the more first order kind of games in this case. And well, I always was impressed with the visual presentation because it was one of the most visually striking elements of the game itself. In fact, let me show you some of the cards they used to do. So, I got these sleeved. So yeah, you go into card. We got the unmatched little card sleeves here in battle. There are no equals. And this is kind of like some of the artwork, like Merlin is the sidekick to King Arthur here. So you get all of these cool little cards, Excalibur and whatnot, things, all of this put into the original presentation. It always looks like, and in case anyone is wondering what the basis of Unmatched used to be, it was originally a Star Wars board game. Jedi Battle, I think it was called. Let me double check that just to make sure I'm not giving you misinformation. Ooh, look at this. Okay, so Unmatched board game. Is this Cuddlymuffintop basically stalling for time at this point? Maybe. I am a little bit anxious, I will wholeheartedly admit. But yeah, let's see. So, Unmatched. Skirmish type game, published by Restoration Games and formerly Mondo Tees, which 2 to 4 players, depending on the circumstances, use a combination of miniatures and cards to compete in a skirmish style battle. And it's almost at 10 years. It was first released in 2019. And, aha! So the game that this game is based off of was Star Wars Epic Duels, which was a board game published originally by Hasbro in 2002, and it's considered out of print. So, it's basically a revitalized version of it, but without, well, with a few exceptions to this case, but without the licensing involved. Because a lot of the characters they incorporate are free public domain ones. So the first box set, for example, you got King Arthur, Sinbad, Alice from Alice in Wonderland, and Medusa from the Greek mythologies. Now, there are some exceptions, like I mentioned before, where they did incorporate some licensing deals. Like with Jurassic Park I mentioned, they were able to get 2 sets. One involving the hunter, who says, "Clever girl," from the original Jurassic Park, and 3 velociraptors in a group. And then you had the doctor, played by Laura Dern, and the T-Rex, where Jeff Goldblum is the side character, the sidekick to Laura Dern's doctor character. And then you got ones for Marvel. They actually did some deals with Marvel recently, such as getting the Daredevil, Elektra, Bullseye, and then you had Ghost Rider, Nick Cage, also Spider-Man, Deadpool even though he's one of the rarest ones to get because he was only exclusive to one thing in particular, She-Hulk, and a few other things. And then, coming up here in the near future, of course, they also had The Witcher and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and some other ones. But coming up soon this year, it's Hellboy. Hellboy, my man, is getting his own Unmatched set. And of course, it doesn't just extend to, well, in this regard, the one-on-one battles. They have also made Unmatched Adventures, where you can team up with up to 3 other players to face off against. It's a cooperative game. So they had Tesla, and like the Golden Skull and a few other characters for the first Kickstarter campaign. against some aliens. The Blob is also one of the villains you face off against and whatnot. And then they did it with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And they made it so if you want to bring Tesla and the other characters incorporated into those co-op adventures and you want to do it in 1v1 with maybe one of the Ninja Turtles, you can even use Crane or Shredder, since they're the villains from that pack, into the mix. You can do that. And they just announced, coming up here in the near future, that they're gonna have a new set involving the Big Bad Wolf, Mulan, Pinocchio, and I think one other character. Let me see who that other character is. Now that I think about it, I'm trying to see if they have it on their website. They also gonna be having a new cooperative adventure, and for those of you who are big fans of Slave the Spire, apparently they're gonna have a Slay the Spire version of 1v1, which I think is pretty cool, being the first video game inspired thing for Unmatched. So yeah, you could now say, without all that said, just because I'm a big fan of this game doesn't mean I'm the greatest at it. But I also wanted to try and utilize this as a template for painting minis for the very first time. In fact, I haven't painted really at all in so blobby long. And now that we met this goal, what, several years ago? We can finally try and see, with the help of blasphemous music playing in the background, maybe I could be a little bit competent with the whole entire process. So, I got my brushes here. Different kinds of brushes. I'm not exactly sure which ones is best for which. I tried to do the best research that I possibly could with everything involved, but here are in my Starbucks cup, I got my paints. See, I can bring this over without knocking over anything. Here we go. I got my little tray here. With my starter paints, we got about 10 of them right here. We got the speed paints from Army Painter. Oh, and so, but Lisa, thank you so much for the 250 stream streak in this case. Much obliged, much obliged. So, I'm going to be trying to utilize, these are like beginner's paints for what I can muster up in this regard. So I got my little mini tray here. Don't know if I'm going to do too much with it. I'll just slant it right over here because reasons. I got my brush cleaner. They say that this is a good way to preserve your brushes after you're done using them. Keep them nice and fresh. I am not going to bring over my cup of water because that would be dangerous. But I do have my wet palette. So I soaked up the water that makes it kind of semi-transparent. There's a wet sponge on the bottom of here. I'm going to be putting my paints on here to help preserve them, even when I may not use all of it at the same time. That was one of the things that I was missing when I was originally going to try and start this off. And I got this. Ooh. Oh, I'm getting crazy with the camera. I got this. Apparently, this is good for sealing it. Please correct me if I happen to be wrong. Just a friendly note. This is my first time ever doing miniature painting. I am a rookie. So what this is going to be basically is me doing a test. A test on a miniature. And what better one to make a test of than what many consider to be the worst character from the base game of Unmatched. King Arthur. Let's see if we can zoom in on here. Come on, zoom in. Come on. Zoom in, you bastard! Come on, King Arthur, you got this. Kind of. It does not like to zoom in for this. And this is an iPhone I'm using, by the way. You would think the it would be a little bit better. But yeah, this is what I'm gonna try painting today. Now, of course, I'm not gonna try to do anything fancy with the base of it because a lot of people like to put like special details when it comes to the base of the figurine. And apparently, and correct me if I happen to be wrong on this, I talked to some people that I went to a game shop so I can get some other supplies off to the hand, like this, for example, to help the base in with some blue tack so it stays put while I'm paint. They told me the quality of the Unmatched figurines, they are already primed, which for a lot of figurines, you're supposed to do that prior to painting them themselves. So what do you think, though? This is going to be one of those examples where I'm not entirely sure if people think this is primed enough. But it looks like it has a good priming of gray to it. So this King Arthur is going to be our test subject to see how well I do with the painting process. It's going to be a learning. Ooh, you ever had one of those yawn hiccups? That's basically what I just had there. So yeah, this is what we're gonna paint with the power of the lovely acoustics of Blasphemous. We're gonna see what we can do with King Arthur himself. I highly doubt that I'm gonna have enough time to really do the other figurines, but I can show you what the other figurines would be if, for any instance, people want me to do miniatures in the future. Because, again, this is a test stream. I don't know how people would gauge this. I'm not sure if people will find this entertaining enough to continue on with this, but if people would like me to do more of this in the future, feel free to let me know. So, here's Alice with a Book's haircut. Again, I wish it would zoom in a little bit better here. Come on. Zoom! Focus! You're just gonna see a lot of blurred details here. I guess, yeah, so there's Alice, if the time ever comes for that there. And then we can also go with the two others here. Let's see if we can close this up. There we go. The storage set is kind of nice. Ugh, come on, open! Open, you bastard! There we go. This, I think, will be cool to paint if I ever get to it. We got Medusa. I think this will be kind of cool to paint. Painting all those individual snakes, especially as they come all the way down her dress. Medusa, apparently, from I read up in the tiers, she's one of the top tier ones to use in battle because she was the first introduced long range characters with her bow. And she has a pretty neat combos that she has with her cards too. And then finally, does anyone remember Sinbad? Not just the DreamWorks animated show, but like the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad or the Golden Age of Sinbad with Ray Harryhausen stop motion. Here's Sinbad, bare-chested and all that. This might be a fun one to paint. And maybe one day I might be experienced enough to try and do the bases. Like maybe make something nautical related for this, since he's always sailing the high seas. But yeah, those are the first sets of the base game for, in this case, Unmatched. Of course, there's also other sets, basically, that kind of go into the mix. But without further ado, we could probably get this started. I'm a little bit anxious, I will wholeheartedly admit. But I'm gonna attempt to do the very best I can. Also, I'm gonna see how's the camera, by the way? Is it looking good? again, my hands look so red whenever there's light to it. I'm normally so pale that you see in all these, it's like I might be having a heat stroke, which in this case, maybe. But I guarantee you I'm... Oh god, you have hands! You don't have claws at all! Hello, OC. Greetings and salutations. Hope you're doing well. I'm not gonna do that symbol anymore. I hate it. Welcome to the stream. This is my first time ever mini painting, so please be gentle with critique. Actually, I know there may be some of you who are avid mini painters who may come across my stream thinking this is the worst mini painting that I ever seen in my life. First, this is my first time. I am a beginner, but I always appreciate constructive criticism going forward. So if you have anything that I need to improve upon when it comes to doing this, I'm always happy to hear it. I am not going to be one of those people who thinks they know it all, because trust me, I don't. I do not. I mean, I do have this book. I do have this little painting guide in some regards that could assist, but maybe not with all things, because I'm not doing Warhammer figurines. I'm doing something completely different, but we'll give it a try. And again, our test subject for today is King Arthur right here. So we're gonna see. How can you say I'm your favorite streamer? That's blasphemy. Also, why does it look like I'm cutting off here? I'm gonna increase it just slightly. I'm noticing on the YouTube side of things, it's like, it's not the whole screen there in some regards. I don't know why that is, but I have just noticed it. But there we go. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Now it shouldn't be encompassing that. So yeah, we're gonna try to paint King Arthur here. So what were the instructions? What? It's not that. Honestly, let's see. The war paints. We gotta shake the bottle hard. So I'm trying to think. What color scheme should I do with King Arthur? Okay, we got a red base for it. So should we try to do complementary? Lurking for a sec, be right back, no worries. I mean, there's different techniques that you can go with when it comes to painting these. There's a complementary, split complementary, or analogous. And I'm trying to think, what color theory scheme should I use? Like, if it's red, should I incorporate some greens into it? Possibly? I don't know. I'm trying to think what would be a good color scheme for our little friend here. I'm gonna try and look up some pictures of King Arthur. I know probably we're gonna utilize some grays for some of his chainmail accessories, at least. Maybe some whites. I'm trying to think what we should color the cape. What would be a cut? The sword should be like a good silver or something, and of course the face. So let's look at each of the colors that we have here. We got blood red. Definitely think I'm gonna be using this, maybe to put some blood splatters on the sword itself. So we gotta shake it hard. There we go. Shake it hard. That's it. That's it. Shake it. And then we gotta squeeze out a bit. Okay. There we go. And then we gotta shake for 30 seconds again. Isn't this fun? Don't think of anything else. This is not a Fansly stream, by the way. Although, I'm gonna be completely honest, who knows? A Fansly Gold could be in the works for Haunttober for Imagination Library if it leads up to that. But I'm gonna make it the highest goal that we can reach. So I did squirt the blood red on the wet palette off to the side over here. All right. I think that was 30 seconds. So let's check the consistency. Okay. Seems fine. Okay, here's a question to those of you who might be... Ooh, look at that. I got some of the blood on me. Oh, no, it's not. It's the paint. I swear, it's the paint. But for those of you who do mini paintings, do you normally use mixing bowls to make it easier for you to shake? Or do you just use your hands for the process or something else? They recommend mixing bowls for it, but I'm not entirely sure. So what other ones am I gonna use for the process? We could use the Fire Giant Orange. What are the other colors? We got, oh yeah, Gray Lord Gray. We're definitely gonna be using that. Definitely gonna using the gray for the sword and maybe some of the chainmail. If you are susceptible to the flashing imagery, take as much caution as you can. I'm sure what I'm doing right now may be susceptible to your eyes, so I do wholeheartedly apologize for not making any warnings whatsoever. Also, I'm gonna make sure I check on my YouTube to make sure I'm not missing out on anything. Good, I am not. Okay, I'm gonna squirt some out. Okay, it did squirt out a bit. Then we're gonna shake it. We're gonna do it slowly here. How many people would prefer that I shake it off to the camera so it doesn't give anyone motion sickness? That might be a good idea. I'm gonna put it close to my mic here though, so you can hear it, hear the shaking. Hey Avic, greetings and salutations. Hello there to you. I'm Cuddlymuffintop, and this is my very first miniature painting stream, and as you can tell, we haven't started yet. We are about half an hour into this, and we haven't started at all. But I'm a half human, half blood VTuber who is not unconscious. My body is absolutely not unconscious, so as you can see. And we are currently getting the paints ready on my wet palette that I have. And I'm trying to decide my colors that I'm gonna use for King Arthur, who is gonna be my very first mini that I will be painting here today. I was thinking some reds, grays so far, and I'm trying to think of what else to incorporate. So that's what we're gonna be doing. And let me make sure I give you a shout out before I run screen here. Havoc, hope you had a good stream, and if you do need to skedaddle after doing the stream itself, please feel free to skedaddle and give yourself some good rest and relaxation. Also, apologies for my red as blobby hell hands. They just like to warm up whenever there's light around. So there's that. So what else could we use? We could use, and there's my hairy arms. Oh dear God. We could, can you see King Arthur in this right here? Can you see him wearing some hardened leather? I can maybe see it. Maybe. I can probably see it being like hardened leather for you. These big strong hands, Rockbiter. They look like big, strong hands, don't they? I can't do that voice. That's a very unique, gruffled voice. So of course I gotta shake all of these up that I want to use because they require you to shake it, squirt out a little bit, then shake it more for about half a minute, and then squirt it. I got a wet palette over here. Oh, they just... Oh my god, this one squirted out so badly. It was like a big squirter. Here we go. You can hear it. You can hear the paint. You can hear the bottle as I shake it. It's probably better this way than to show it on camera again for those of you who may, you know, have epilepsy or seizure complications. There we go. We're gonna squirt it again. So I gotta remember, we got red, gray, the leathery color, and let me see. I don't think we're gonna be using green. I mean, we could go with the complementary color scheme, like with the red base. I mean, red and green are complementary colors in this case. It could be kind of Christmassy if we really wanted to go that way. But I don't know. What else do we got? High Lord Blue. I don't know. Hello, Red Mage. Greetings and salutations. Hope you are doing well. Welcome to the stream. Oh, you know what? Let me go ahead and give you the points back. I wholeheartedly have to admit that I don't think I can really do the Molly hat when I'm in this form. So let me give you back your points, Havoc, in this case. So I'm gonna reject it. I'm gonna mark the other ones I've done as completed, though. So apologies about that. You can save the 1,000 points for another occasion. But yeah, it doesn't really work out so well when I'm in this mode. We could do this. Palette bone. All right, let's shake it. We gotta shake it hard. Oh, yeah. Shake it like a make it. All right, there we go. And now, I'm gonna squeeze it here. Hopefully it doesn't. Okay, that one was a lot better to try and separate it, but now we're gonna swish it around a little bit more. Also, friendly reminder, as I continue to mix these paints up that I plan to use, have you not voted for the Vtuber tournaments yet? Well, you still got time. Less than a week, though, but you still have time to vote in the community polls that I have in the pinned comment on both Twitch and YouTube. So, there are 2 tournaments being run right now. They're all community picks. One for retro games, and one for modern. Retro games being 2006 to earlier, and modern games from 2017 to this year. So, if you have not voted yet for what games you would like to be on my Vtuber schedule for all of our Vtuber, where every single day from the 1st to Halloween, I'll be streaming nothing but horror and Halloween-related video games to help raise money for, in honor of Dolly Parton, Imagination Library through Twitch. And I'll probably have links for YouTube on that as well. We'll have goals, we'll have incentives, and if you did want to make your voice heard for what games you want me to play to add to the schedule, feel free to use or check out the links. In fact, hold on here. Yep, they're still pinned, so feel free to take them at any time while I still shake these up. We already got the palette. I think yellow would definitely be one. And for those of you who have taken the survey, what games from each tournament are you hoping will win? Do you have a favorite? Did you have a matchup that was really difficult to narrow it down to one? I would like to hear it, because I like having those suspenseful matches, especially in the first round. And of course, the first rounds are always the longest, but as we continue each and every Friday with a new iteration, they will get smaller until we have one game remaining for retro and for modern titles. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I do have some that I hope win, but at the same time, This is the community, folks, so anything can happen. You could make me play one of the worst games imaginable for my voice in the retro tournament if you wanted to. If you know, you know. Or you can make me play something cool. Or something that will kick my ass. Or something that's brand new that will appear perhaps in October. I think that's really sweet. Okay. Now, I don't think we'll use purple. All right. So, I think we got all the paints that we needed. Let me double check on the YouTube chat. Okay, everything's good to go. Straighten these up so I look professional. And let's see. I'm trying to see which brush should I go with first. This is a difficult decision. We gotta pick the right brush. Gotta make sure that we pick carefully. I'm trying to remember all the specifics when it comes to each brush, but I don't quite remember. But you know what? You can let me know as we progress. So, let's start off with this bad boy right here with the angled pivot. So, let's see. Where should I paint first? Maybe... What do you think? What part on Arthur here should be a good place that we can start off with? I'm thinking maybe the cape. What do you think will be a badass color to test out with the cape? Do you think a blue? Well, it probably wouldn't be... We don't really have much options for black. Unless we combine some paints together. But... You know what? I think we're gonna go ahead and get started with the cape. Alright. What color will I go for? What color speaks to me? Maybe not orange. I don't know about gray because we're gonna use the for some of the armor parts of this. Ooh, Crusader skin. I gotta remember. We gotta shake this up. I can't believe I forgot about the Crusader skin. We need that for the face. There we go. There we go. That's what I forgot. There we go. Let the blasphemous music prep me up here. Okay. All right. Now we'll shake it up a little bit more. You're done with voting? Well, I hope your favorite goes through. Thank you so much for... Ooh, tap the microphone there. Thank you so much for making your vote count. Come on now. Be gentle. We're gonna shake this up a little bit. And then we can go from there and see what kind of mistakes that I can make. A part of me feels like I should have planned this more in advance, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy that we went in this direction. All right. So, let's see. What color speaks to me with the cape? Maybe the hardened leather. So, let's start off with the hardened leather then. All right. Here we go. Ooh, this is gonna get tricky. Okay. Who knows if I'm using the right brush for this either. Oh, you gotta make sure. Gotta make sure it's in the camera. Man, it's a lot harder to try and do this than I originally expected. Okay. All right. Trying to be as gentle as can be. Get in those crevices. Gotta make sure that people actually see what I'm doing. Okay. Now we gotta go right in there. Gotta go up top there a little bit. Well, what do you think so far? You think the hardened leather was a good choice for the cape? Not too shabby so far. Let's keep going here. Gotta get into this center right here. Like, get right around there. Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's very tricky for me to basically make sure that this is on the screen while I'm painting. Yeah, I keep cutting off to the side there. So apologies on that. Maybe we can do it like so. Have it a little bit close up. Alright. Now, I feel like we're gonna try... Oops. Looks like we got a little bit on his... I should have realized that at the beginning. Looks like we got a little bit on his clothing there. We can fix that in post, I think. We can fix that. Okay. Let's see. So now... right in here. Sure to get that. Make sure to get that. I have never painted before, in case anyone is wondering. Also, greetings and salutations. Thank you so much for the follow there, Alan. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, this is my first time ever painting, so I'm bound to make some mistakes here and there, but any sort of feedback is always appreciated. This is like my test motto in the meantime, but yeah, you can see that I already scraped some of the paint on the clothing itself. Not exactly perfect, but at the same time, I'm actually surprised. Okay, so now let's see. Ooh, there's one section like down underneath him. I think this might be the best paintbrush for this, but I'm gonna try get in between his legs. And then right in there. Quite tricky. Then try to get that. Then right in there. Let's see. Like right in there, I feel like I still need... Oh, let me get that back up. Oh, if you have a white acrylic paint, you can clean that up once it's dried. Got it. I do think I have some white acrylic ones. So, not too shabby, but yeah. Not too shabby, but yeah. I'm not entirely sure about right inside there. That's the tricky part. I don't know if I'm getting at it though, which is good. We just gotta get right in between the legs. And again, apologies if I still seem like I'm dipping my hand like off to the side here. Still my first time actually doing it is a lot harder than I expected. This is probably something that I will get more accustomed to. All right. So, with that said, let's take a look at the cape one more time. See if I'm missing anything. All right. Oh yeah, add a bit of water. That probably would do the trick. I do have some water. All right, let's see. I feel like that's a good tip. All right, we'll do it upside down here. All right, let's see if I can add this somewhere. Get this off here. Did add a little bit of water that I had in my cup. Let's see how it looks. Not too shabby. I mean, for a first attempt, I mean, there's bound to be some blotches here and there. Now let's see. What should I paint next? Maybe the base. Or maybe the gloves. Should the gloves also be leather colored like the cape, or should we do something else? Let's, what other colors did I have up here? We got the red. We got the skin color, Crusader skin. We do have the palette bone. Maybe the bone one. We could try the bone one. Alright. That's why I like the model holders. Yep. So, for these ones, I got blue tack for this one in particular that I have a pack of. But yeah, the ones that also have the magnet that can basically do the trick like so well when you're doing it upside down like that. It really does hold it down, but the magnet one sounds nice. Alright. Now, let's see. Let's try the gloves. Okay, it's a little bit hard to really see it because it doesn't want to zoom in so well. Okay, let's go ahead and... Okay. Gotta make sure we get this. I can imagine this taking a lot of patience to try and get right in tip-top shape. Okay. Adds a bit more. Get it back in. Yeah. Right in the gloves. I do miss painting. I used to do a lot of painting when I was in high school. So even if it's not perfect, this is rekindling, revitalizing my painting excitement, so to speak. I will admit I was anxious before I even started doing this, thinking, oh god, I'm gonna screw this up so bad, but what do I expect? This is the first model that I'm ever doing. Of course I'm gonna screw up. Of course I am not gonna get this perfect. Of course I'm not going to have it the absolute best that it can be, but it's a learning process. And that learning process is rekindling something in me. So that's kind of nice. I honestly do like that. So, Yeah, speed paints do come up at the beginning level, but as a learning curve. That's what I'm starting to notice when I'm doing these. I have noticed that there's a lot more to it than just what they utilize for it. For sure, that's from my impressions at least. So, I think let's give the boots the same color scheme. So we're gonna go see if I can do this. For those that are able to do this flawlessly, I commend them wholeheartedly. But then again, they probably goofed up a lot when they were first doing it. Oh yeah, that's right. We could do that. I'm gonna attempt to mix up a few colors. Let's try this. For the boots, at least. We're gonna make it darker. I mixed up what I use for the cape with what I use for the gloves. So it has a bit of a darker side. And listening to blasphemous music was a good choice for this. I do love Carlos Viola's music. Okay. Oh, I can't forget. We gotta make sure these are facing upwards after I use them. That's another thing with the brushes. Okay. Alright, now let's try that again. Get that boot in there. Okay. Okay. I feel like having a wet palette is gonna help out so much. And apologies if you're not able to see all the details with this camera. This doesn't want to make it zoom in that well. Alright, now let's add some water to them and let them float downwards, upside down. Now the boots have more of a darkened tone to it. By combining, what did I combine? The pallid bone and the leather. Okay, not too shabby. Feel like I might need to just add some touch-ups here. Right in there. Don't get too high up there, though. Make sure you get the toesies. Right in the back. Okay. Okay. So, let's take a look. The pants and the boots seem to be quite alright. Though I will... Okay, those are boots, okay. I was always thinking that maybe those were pants, but those are boots. So... Okay, so that... Let's take a look, a little bit more of a look here. See? Okay. Now, what should be the next thing I color? Let me take a look. We could do with... Well, we could probably do that next. I'm gonna wet this off. Have it like so. And now, what color should I use? What colors should I use for this instant? We could use some gray and maybe some leather for this, possibly. Let's take a look here. Hold it back a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. I might combine something else for this. Probably make him some sort of black light. Slaughter red might actually be a good touch-up for it, actually. Let's try combine those two. I'm gonna attempt that and see. But more slaughter red. Because I can see that maybe... That could be... Ooh, you know what? Ooh, that is looking nice. I think you made a good call here. Yeah, look at that. And swiggle it around. Okay. There we go. I might use a different color for the stash element. Not too bad. But I do notice that it's kind of was touching the cape a little bit. So let's go back for that. Okay, let's see. This could be like blood drenched in the cape. So even when if some of the red got into the cape itself, I can see that maybe being blood spewed from battle. Like blood getting into the cape and other places. It's like his whole pants is quenched with the blood of his enemies. Now let's add some other dark details here. What we might just do not too shabby. Not too shabby. Could be better, but still not too shabby. Now let's go back to adding a bit more red to it, so it doesn't get overly drenched in black. Okay. Okay, how are we doing here? Okay, now let's add some water to it. And I'm gonna let gravity take over a little bit. Okay. Upside down. Stand up in good company. So yeah, not too shabby. I mean, compared to other professional mini figurines, it probably doesn't look like much at all. In fact, it probably looks like crap to others, but I have to say I'm kind of impressed with how it looks so far. Now we gotta get to more of it. Oh, you did the army paints. Well, now I see. Oh, TAP, that's... I should have realized that. Well, thank you so much for stopping in the meantime. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much for the tips that you provided throughout this. It was greatly appreciated. Hope you do take care. Okay, that was pretty awesome. Someone from the company actually stopped in to provide some tips for how to paint. I kind of like that. It's also kind of nice if you were playing like a smaller independent game, or just say independent game in particular. I've had this happen to a friend before where Sumire Hanaki, who I made in Tomodachi Life, actually, when she was playing Faith the Unholy Trinity, which is one of the games that you can vote on for the Modern Horror Games tournament, alongside his upcoming game, Tenebrous Somnia, actually stopped in the chat for her when she was streaming it. And it's like, it just goes to show it. You don't have to be a big-time streamer for the developer of a particular indie game to show up and say, hey, thanks for playing my game. I feel like I've had a few instances like that in the past. It's kind of cool, honestly. Even these small-time streamers can get recognized even a little bit by the creators of that project. Now, let me see how we're doing on the musical list. This is one of my favorite songs from Blasphemous in particular. It's the music from the... when you get the true ending of Blasphemous 2 before they did the expansions. When his pain has finally been uplifted and he's able to ascend. The Pendedemon no longer has to suffer after all those grueling years. But yeah, let's see. Where should I paint next? Maybe I should... Gonna look at it up close. Let's do the chainmail or the helmet here in this case. I'm gonna go with something dark. Okay. Let's go for that. Ooh, this is tricky because it kind of has... Okay. This might be the trickier part where I might have to go off camera. Like there's multiple sections here. Yeah, this one's tricky because it's got different parts to it. Let's see. I think this music is from the expansions of Blasphemous that I have not yet played, which I should. Okay, so let me take a look. So yeah, there's like golden elements to the cap. So your fiance bought you the super spicy bamboozled jelly beans. The only problem is the Carolina Reaper ones look exactly like the Sriracha ones. Guess which one I just got? The Carolina Reaper. Oh, you poor soul. I remember when I had the Carolina Reaper. That wasn't fun. So I'm hoping that you can survive. Okay, now, let me see if we can get... Ooh, yeah, let's try this. Okay, we're gonna try this out. It was adequately spicy. Not bad, huh? Okay, I'm gonna have to paint off with this one. This is so tricky. I completely forgot about this element to his helmet. Ooh, let's see if I can squeeze right over there. All right. Let's see how this looks. Not too shabby. Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna try the one chip challenge for sure. That's definitely not gonna be on my list of goals for sure. I've heard so many bad experiences for those that have taken it that it got recalled from stores. Hello, Deep W, by the way. Greetings and salutations. Hope you are doing well. I want to see how this looks. I mean, it's not too bad. Let's add a bit more darker elements to the side, though. Welcome to the stream. I'm doing my first ever mini painting. So, I'm bound to screw up quite a bit. Look at the wet redness of my hand here. You did a lot of that back in the day. This is my very first time, so wish me luck. I gotta do this one off to the side because this one... There we go. I always forget. No, this is my very first time doing this type of stream with the hand cam or the phone cam and doing minifig. This is from a donathon goal that I reached so long ago that I'm finally able to do after all this time. So yeah, it's my very first experience. Okay. Now, let's see if we can do maybe the chainmail element to his helmet. We're gonna try a different brush. Okay. Let's see how this pans out. Let's try... There we go. Let's see if this will do it. Ooh, this is gonna be tricky. Oh, it's still not showing on the thing, yeah. Okay. Alright, let's try that again. Maybe I should add some red to it. I was originally going with the bone, the orange, but now let's try some red to kind of make it seem. I had him do a bunch. Yeah, I heard that Oddcock does a lot of minis. I do remember he told me about that quite a while ago. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't like the... Okay, and then we'll try to do the back of it too. Okay. Let's see. Right in here. See, it's a habit of mine. Oh, you'll be looking? Good luck. Thank you. Thank you ever so kindly. It's a habit, though, to make sure that I keep this on the camera that's shifted off. Trying to fix that for myself. Alright, let's... Ah, see, I'm doing it again. I feel like this would be a lot better if I was having a bigger lens rather than a phone for my camera. Like if I actually had a camcorder or something, that might be a little bit better. But I don't have that luxury. Oh, and let's check the YouTubes. Make sure I'm not missing anything there. Nope, doesn't look like it. Whew. Okay. So let's take a look at how the helmet is. Come on. It doesn't seem to do the best job of zooming in, does it? Alright. Now let's replay it. Because I saw that my playlist was just about to end. Alright. Be completely honest with me, my chubby checkers. How does this look to you so far? How do you think this looks? We did the cape. We did the boots. We did the gloves. We did... I always forget what part of that it is. We did the helmet with the chains on it. I always forget what that part is. I feel like we're getting close. We got to do the shirt element, the face, and the sword. Feel like the sword I wanted to do last. So maybe I'll do the face now that we got the helmet taken care of. Okay. So, which brush will I utilize? Let's see. He does have a bit of a beard. So I'm gonna try and see what we can do to give him that beard texture. So let's see. Like right on the bottom. Alright, let's take a look at it. I feel like it needs a bit more lightness. Anyone else think so? What do you think of the face? Let's see if we can. I really can't really see it. There we go. That's a little bit better. It's like if you get it too up close, then it just doesn't want to zoom in that well, does it? It almost looks like he has orange skin. But something tells me that's a little bit enduring. Let's now try. I'm still seeing if I can get him a little bit of a beard on the bottom. I don't know if that is noticeable or not, but how does that look? Quiet audience. But then again, looking good? Well, we got one person to think it's looking good for a first try. Honestly, it could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse in this case. I'm glad we're going with Arthur as the test to see how we go with painting these going forward. First try, yeah. Crazy how it's still my first try doing this. Okay. Now, we can kind of look at it here. We still have a little bit of chain. I'm gonna try and paint that. There's like, I don't know if you can see it, but like right below there's like some chains that I'm gonna try a gray with. Let's see. Or, no, not that one. Yeah, this will probably do. Let's see. Like right in there. And then maybe add some of the leather. Maybe that. Or both. Let's try both of them. To see if it makes it stand out. Okay, let's take a look. Not too blobby shabby. I will wholeheartedly admit, doesn't look too shabby. Now, I'm gonna take a look at it again here. Gonna go ahead and do something here real quick off to the side. Make sure that we got that. And then do it upside down. I mean, it looks good from this angle at least. It's not too bad. How am I doing on... Okay. Now, let's go with... I think we'll go with the... like, the upper sleeves where it's cutting off and then... all that afterwards. Let's try... a mix of this and this. See how this fares. Oh, gotta get it back in frame. And right in there. And like right in this corner. Okay. Mix these up again. Ooh, I got a thick one. There we go. Okay. All right. We're getting there. Ooh, I forgot there's like a little... like right here there's another... what do you call those? The hilt? For another blade? Like right in there. Gotta make sure I color that. Let's try... okay. Then gonna hang it up upside down. Or not upside down, upright. I'm gonna add some water to these elements. And then right. Gotta stop saying that. It's become one of my focal stems now. Ever since I watched that DM archive short. That's become one of my focal stems whenever I say it out loud in person. Let it ride. Okay. Now we'll get just the slight sleeve on there. And I think we'll do... oh yeah, we gotta do the underbelly section there too. Let's see. We'll go with another thin brush. Okay, now let's try it. Right underneath here. Okay. right. Is there anything else I need to... Oh, like right in there. Right in that section too. All right. All right. All right. Now, let's maybe get the inner sleeves, or what it might be chainmail that's in the arms section itself, and then the hilt of the blade. Maybe we can go for red as that inner chain armor. Okay, let's get some more. And maybe add in some of the Crusader skin. Okay. There we go. All right. And then add a little bit of water. Let it ride! God, I gotta stop saying that! One of those common spoken stems now that's gonna be embedded into my head for all of eternity. Alright. Alright, so now, gonna check the YouTube comments again to make sure I'm not delaying anything. I'm gonna check it over here then too, just to make sure. Okay, good. Excellent. Nice. Thank you. Okay. Just making sure. Alright. So now, we only got the blade left, don't we? Yeah, I think that's all we have. The blade. Let me look at it just slightly here. Gonna add a few other touches. Just notice some other spots that I didn't quite get. Like right in the pants. Right around here. Come on, don't be shy. Okay. Alright. Now we're gonna get to the blade. Let's do the hilt first. Let's go with a smaller brush. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay. Now, let's get that blade a good old blobby fashion look. Let's go with maybe this brush. Alright, here we go. And maybe we can try and add some red. Look on all sides here. Let's actually try and add some more lighter texture to it. Okay. And let's see if we can add like a blood texture to the sword. See if I can get some more red in here without too much water. There. There. Now it looks like it's actually had some use in battle. Blood-stained. Well, what do you think? Honestly, I'm kind of surprised how well this turned out. I guess the only other thing that I can probably paint is the base of it. We could probably make it like the bone color a little bit. Sadly, I'm not able to make it more extensive in the ways of, well, adding some new details to it, but I think it turned out much better than I expected. Alright. Now let's see. We're just gonna add a simple thing to the base. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, there we go. Make sure we get at these areas too. Back here. Okay. Okay, nice and easy. Okay. It honestly looks like a bloody, well, not quite, but it honestly kind of makes me reminiscent that he just got out of like a bloody battlefield with the way that it just looks like a complete mess. It almost looks like runny diarrhea that he's stepping on in some regards. I mean, it could be looking better with some added props to it, of course, but honestly, I'm kind of impressed. All right. Now let's take one last look at it. See if we can get this zoomed in here. Wish I can get it closer. Of course you would laugh at that. Of course you would at the diarrhea. All right. So we're gonna do a slow turn here. I wish this allowed for better zooming or focus. But for what you can see, what do you think? You think this is a cool portrayal of King Arthur? My very first test subject when it comes to miniature painting? Be honest. Be as completely honest as you can. And if you happen to be someone who's more experienced when it comes to miniature painting, feel free to leave some tips and tricks. Any sort of constructive feedback is always appreciated, especially if I happen to go forth and do some more of these in the future. I don't know if it will be off stream. I don't know if it will be on stream. But I think this looks pretty cool. I think this looks pretty neat. Now, I'm supposed to spray this, I believe. Okay, apply when base coat is thoroughly dry, usually 24 hours. So I'm not gonna do it now. So, They say that you should use this to make sure all the details are added to the mix. But they said not to use it until 24 hours later. So I'm definitely not gonna do that. So that will be during my stream tomorrow. But yeah, what do you think, everyone? You think this is a decent depiction of King Arthur? It almost, in some areas, it kind of looks like it isn't fully painted. But that was from the gray that I used. What was the color of it? Let's see here. It was not that one. Yeah, not too shabby. Gray Lord Gray. That is the paint that I used for it. So it kind of almost looks like it's still part of the priming that is involved with this. But yeah, I'll definitely take a picture of this and show it on my Discord and my Blue Sky, and even my YouTube for anyone that might be interested in looking at this. And if people think that I should maybe do more streams like this where I just listen to blasphemous music while I paint, feel free to let me know. Because this is an experiment. Ooh, the camera almost it just about froze there, but I'm open to doing new things like this. Maybe I can do it for board games, but if I do something for board games, I need a bigger lens, I feel. I don't think an iPhone will be enough to cover the entire board. But yeah, not too shabby indeed for one of the worst characters to play as in Unmatched, where the developers wish they could have done more with this special ability with Excalibur. So yeah, I think that is going to do it for tonight. Yay! Yeah, this was going to be a shorter stream. I felt like doing one figurine as a test. As you can see, my cursed painted fingers and skin. I feel like this was a good way. Also, can't forget to use this for my paintbrushes when the time comes. Probably should do it now before I forget. Short and sweet indeed. I don't really do a lot. Well, this is my first time doing this type of stream, but yeah. Let me know what you thought of this kind of stream. Is this something that you would like me to do more on a semi-regular occasion? Would you like me to paint the remaining Unmatched? Because I got a lot of them to paint. Like I said, I've been collecting all of the expansions. I mean, I got Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee for crying out loud. That's how dedicated I am. And I definitely will be getting the Hellboy expansion. I'm definitely going to get the one with... Actually, let me look. I know I had a newsletter of all the expansions coming up here. More than likely next year. So let me see if I still have that email. Do I? I might have put it in my deleted. Let me see if I can search it up. Got my keyboard off to the side. Here we go. So, let's see here. So, of course, they got the Hellboy. And then... Okay. So, the characters that are going to be coming up for Unmatched, more than likely next year. These are the sets that are coming up alongside the Hellboy extension, where you can play as... Let's see, who can you play as in Hellboy coming up? Hellboy himself, Liz Sherman, Abe Sapien, and the Baba Yaga. The Baba Yaga. Those are the four that you can play against. Let me see if I can take care of this real quick. I might as well, now that we got some more time on our hands, might as well showcase the other sets coming up. So yeah, this is the upcoming Hellboy one. You can pre-order it now and also get... Let's see. You can if you wanted. If you pre-order on the website, you can get Gerald Riviera in the bathtub as a miniature. If you want me to paint Gerald Riviera from The Witcher taking a bath in the iconic scene from The Witcher 3, feel free to let me know. I do got this one with Shakespeare, the Titania, who were the other ones? Hamlet and the Wayward Sisters. And I do got, this was the collab one that they did with all of that. But yeah, Hellboy is one of them. And then, what was the other ones coming up? We got Once Upon a Time, which is like a fairy tale related one. It's gonna have the Big Bad Wolf from the Red Riding Hood, Mulan, Snow White, and Pinocchio. And it's supposed to be a good entry point for the series for those of you who might want to get into the game. And then there's one coming up for the co-op sections, Unmatched Adventures of Study and Terror. So there's not a lot of information for that one yet. So like right here, this is all we got at this moment, just this screen. And there's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then here is the Stars and Stripes. So you got Wily Up, Rosie the Riveter, who recently died this year, who was like 100 years old, who was in part of World War II and the labor union. We got, who is it? John Henry, and George Washington. I mean, slavery aside, it's George Washington. But yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones is right here. I mean, those could be miniatures that I could paint in the future. They would be simple, like the orc skin would be perfect for them. And then, the other one is Slay the Spire. Yeah, so Slay the Spire is going to be the very first video game property that is going to be getting an Unmatched edition. That will be interesting, especially when Slay the Spire has the card deck wielding system incorporated into it, which could be a perfect set. Maybe not as customizable. I'm kind of worried about how they're gonna tackle the whole customization aspect of the entire thing, but oh wait, The Witcher was the first video game property that they did. This would be the second one then. My mistake. I corrected myself there. So yeah, those are the ones that are coming up in the near future, so oh, I guess if you wanted to see my hands again. Let's see, which one is it? Gotta make sure I turn on the right camera. There we go. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me for this short but hopefully sweet miniature painting stream. I finally did it. I have finally painted. That was awkward. I don't know what I was attempting to do there. I was trying to go into like a big fit of range. Thank you for streaming. You are most welcome, Amori. Take a look at the final result again. Hopefully the iPhone will basically actually do something here. Come on now. Come on. I added little bloody tips for it. Absolutely. King Arthur was bound to be the very first miniature that I paint simply because what better person to test it out by than one character who's considered the worst in the game. Besides Merlin. Merlin is like the best part, but he doesn't get a miniature. He gets one of those caps within the game that you control. You can, however, there are models that you can print off of each of the sidekicks if you're able to look and get those 3D printed for yourself. So, for example, King Arthur here, he has Merlin, of course. There are ways for you to get a 3D printed model of Merlin to paint and replace the cap. There's one that you can get for the Harpies that join Medusa. There's one for the Jabberwocky who joins Alice. And then, I'm trying to remember who has Sinbad. Who's Sinbad? Who's Sinbad's? Let me see here. Sinbad and who's the other one here? Come on, Sinbad. It is the Porter. Anyone remember the porter from Sinbad? I don't. What was the name of that princess from the 7 Voyages of Sinbad? The one who shrinks. I don't quite remember. I'm gonna have to look that up. The 7th Voyage of Sinbad. Holy crap, this movie is going to be 70 years old in 2028. That is insane. This movie came out in 1958. That is something else to really hold. You only know Sinbad from the 1990s? I remember watching the 7th Voyage of Sinbad and the Golden Voyage of Sinbad back in the day. So let's see. What is the princess's name? Princess Parisa. Oh, I thought she had a different name than that. I'm gonna be completely honest. I thought it was like Princess Bum Bum or something. So nope, it's not that. Not that at all. There's my fault. Glad I looked. So yeah, in about 24 hours or so, I'm gonna spray this onto my King Arthur to make sure that it stays nice and painted without wearing down so much. So that is gonna do it. Friendly reminder, I didn't really do this so much at the beginning since I was talking so much, but if you want to check my socials, here they are on Twitch. This includes my Blue Sky, my Twitter, my TikTok, my Instagram, my YouTube page, YouTube archive. If you want to check out my Twitch streams that I did exclusively on the platform before I decided to multi-stream. And of course, I upload clips of my streams every weekday on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So if you want to check those out, help support them, like, save, repost, comment, anything like that does help with the algorithm. So thank you ever so much for those that have taken the effort to look at them, even if they are completely stupid. And then, of course, if you want to check out the games, you can buy the Unmatched board games over at what I just showed you, the Restoration Games page, restorationgames.com/unmatched. And if you want to purchase paints or other supplies for your minis, try to support your local businesses whenever you can. I understand it if there may be not enough shops around your place, if you may live in a more secluded area. So for those of you who have no choice but to go on Amazon or other big sites in order to get your miniature paints, I understand why. If you aren't able to go about going to a store, some people just aren't able to do it. It might just be several miles away where they may have it be a waste. It's completely dependent on them, but whenever I can, I try to go for local businesses. Especially what I did for the brushes, the stand here, and a few other things. And finally, my Discord. If you want to join my Discord, as long as you're 18 and older, you're more than welcome to come join in on that. And I'm still giving away free game codes. And it has changed a bit. Some of them have been claimed, and I'm going to be mixing them up starting this upcoming Tuesday, September 1st. These are going to be the games that are still available to those that are a part of my Discord community. Once this Tuesday comes up, whatever is still available, they will be given to a wider audience on my Blue Sky. So currently, right now, the games that I currently have available for free as a token of my appreciation over on my Discord server members are Arise, A Simple Story, Blue Estate, Daydream, Forgotten Sorrow, Gatekeeper, Pile Up, and Transneuronica. Those are the 6 games that I'm currently giving away for free. You can check out game trailers for each of those titles if you're not familiar with what they're about in the channel called Blobby Giveaways. And if one of them piques your interest, feel free to let me know in that same channel, and I'll send you a private DM with the redemption link or... Of course, I had to do that hand gesture Oh, I had to do that hand gesture. It's so cringeworthy. I swear, I'm gonna die. But yeah, feel free to let me know. I'll send you a redemption link or code, depending on where I got it from, and it's yours for you to keep. But the selection of games will be changing starting this Tuesday, September 1st. So if you're a Discord community member and you want to grab one or more of the games I listed, time is running out. So make sure you offer, and you basically, well, don't offer me anything, actually. Don't offer me a single thing. It's just let me know in that same channel. And finally, the Vtuber surveys are still going on. In the pinned comment on both Twitch and YouTube, I have the links where you, my lovely chubby checkers, can vote and decide on which retro and modern horror titles will be put on my Vtuber schedule all of October, alongside the likes of Silent Hill Homecoming, Fatal Frame, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, Resident Evil 2, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and Look Outside. So, we got a tournament for the retro games from 2006 to earlier, and then we got one for modern titles from 2017 to 2026 this year. And it does include more games from this year that I wanted to highlight, especially ones coming out in October, like Hellraiser Revival, Tenebrous Zombia, and Neverway, that one cozy game. Zombies, yeah, they ate the neighbors. They did eat the neighbors there. You have to be cautious. If only I could get online co-op to work with that game. But the remastered or the re-release of that game never included it, and I don't know why. It's such a failed opportunity. A failed advantage they could have had for that game and the sequel that came with that repackaging. I would have loved to play that with someone. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it work. Which sucks. The only way that you can play with the co-op partners with local play. Which is nice if you got friends coming over, but if you want to play with someone online, no dice. But yeah, I'm still gonna play it there. I just have a friend coming over play. I have no friends. Family members, maybe. Co-workers. But not much for friends. It's lonely out there for an adult, male, female, or otherwise, a non-binary. It's not easy maintaining friendships when you get older. It is challenging to try and continue connecting. But if you're able to put in the effort, maybe something will come out of it. Who the blobby hell knows? But yes, what about your brother? He's just gonna curse every single second if I were to have him on. I swear my brother would probably curse like every second if we were to play that game. And he'd be, oh god, yuck! Oh, you're gonna take this from me! Oh no! 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 That's what he sounds like to me. It's not a perfect impersonation because I'm horrible with those, but I feel like just mute him. I'm not gonna be that disrespectful. No! Plus, it's gonna have to be a weekly occurrence, so I don't know if that will fit within the schedule for anyone. But, well, in the meantime, if you haven't voted yet for the retro or the modern horror titles, the links are still within the pinned comments before we start with the raid. And the surveys will close this upcoming Friday, September 4th, in order to slim down the pickings to 32 instead of 64. And then the next one will be 16, 8, 4, 2. And then we'll see who the winner is. I'm shy, and here I am basically blabbering my whole mouth. Gotta be entertaining here soon, some kinds. Why did I keep waving my hands like this? Okay, I think I should end the stream. But a friendly reminder, we are now 17 followers away over on Twitch from reaching 1,000 followers. And I think that's incredible. I think that's incredible. So if you are not following me, if you think that I am worth a follow in any way, shape, or form, a follow is always nice, and it's free. Never feel obligated. Haha! I didn't hear that because of the music. I didn't hear the fort redeem. I didn't hear the fort redeem. Perfect. Maybe I should do this all the time now. Just have background music overthrown it. Yes. But seriously though, if you feel like I'm worth a follow, feel free to do so. Never feel like you are obligated to purchase a subscription on Twitch. Never feel like you have to donate to me directly or gift me something on Throne. Because I have a full-time job, I can supply for myself. This is a hobby of mine. It's not a job or something that I have to rely on in order to make ends meet. But if you do decide to make a contribution, especially during Hontober, which I prefer that you wait until then. But even if you're not, please do not fret. I just hope that while I stream every single day in October, all the horror and Halloween related video games, that you still have a good time. And we raise money for a good cause, for the Imagination Library in honor of Dolly Parton. So, with that said, yeah, never feel obligated that you have to spend money, even during there if you are low on funds. Make sure you take care of yourself first and foremost. The economy is tough out there. Just make sure if you do decide to make a donation during that month or subscribe or anything like that, that you have enough money for yourself to make sure you make ends meet. I wouldn't want to put you in that position. Make the right choice. So with that said, we're almost at 500 subscribers also on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe over there if you like. Feel free to leave your mean comments down below, dislike, or like if you want. Yes, because I did mini painting. Yep. This is the final result. I've been painting this whole time. Of course I gotta have paint on my hands. You think I would have tried to do it the hard way? Or no, the easy way? Okay, but yes. Feel free to help with the algorithm if you want over on YouTube. But for now, let's go ahead and find someone that we can raid for this shorter stream. Let's go ahead and see who is currently live. Maybe someone that I haven't raided before in this case. Who is a possibility? Oh, that's a good chunk of them. Let's see. Sumere is streaming. I haven't raided her in a while. Milky is streaming. I haven't raided them in a while. Who else do we have? Lady doing some art. Elysia is streaming. They actually raided my channel yesterday, so maybe we can return the favor. They're playing Uno. Oh god, Uno. That sounds like a horrible time. Let's see. I'm gonna double check to make oh! It might be ending stream, so I might just have to hold off. I did see some comments saying, hope you rest well. So let's look at some other options. Let's see here. Who else do we have? Because I always have the tendency to raid someone who is about to end their stream. That seems to like be a habit of mine. And I need to do a better job at picking those up. I have raided Saruk recently. You know what? Let's go with Lady, who is also doing some artwork. Lady has a very sweet voice. She used to be part of False ID. Yep, looks like she is doing some artwork, some very impressive artwork. They have sold artwork of their stuff before, so copy and animating. So let's go ahead and rate them. Let's get a raid message for them. Let's see. What would be a good raid message? Let's see. How about... paint it. Wait. Blob's incoming raid. Pretty simple. Now let's get a follower version ready for... I don't think there is a blob. No, of course there's not a blob version here. I would have been funny if there was like a blob emote. There's a blood. We got a blowfish. Well, let's go with this. Blob's incoming raid. And we'll go... oh! Knew that I was doing something off here. There we go. And... okay. Think we got it. Alright. Here's the raid message for those of you who are subscribed to my channel. And then, let's try and get a follower-friendly version if we can. I need to go to Frankfurter. No, what is the site that is called again? I need to go on there and figure out some raid messages. You know what? Let's do the poop emoji. Let's do the poop emoji for that. There. For you that are just following my content, there you go. Haha, poop funny. Wow. Alright. And now, let's get the raid going. Wait, I forgot there's an E right there. TVS. All right, so there we go. Again, thank you so much for joining me for my very first mini painting stream and hand cam stream. I don't know if people will like me to do this for the future, but feel free to let me know if you enjoy this kind of content. I will be posting my schedule for next week sometime tomorrow, so feel free to be on the lookout for that. But until then, hope you all have an exquisite rest of your day, whether it be the morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you may be. Ta-ta for now.